afternoon, everyone. Lovely to see you. Thank you very much for joining our Maximise Your Membership webinar today. We've got a packed hour and we've got some experts who are going to tell you all about some of the great benefits that membership of FSB gives you. So if you're already a member, this will be a good reminder of some of the benefits that maybe you don't know about, maybe some of the benefits you haven't used. If you're not a member, then this will be a fantastic opportunity to find out exactly what you get for FSB membership and when you join. So whether you're a member or a non-member, hopefully this is going to be a really good session for you. Just to give you a little bit of housekeeping type things, we have no chat box today, so you can't put any details in the chat, but we do have a Q&A box. So if you've got questions, what we'll do after everybody has spoken, if you've got questions, add them to the Q&A box, and right at the end we'll try to go through as many of the Q&A and the questions that we can. Hopefully we'll get through all of your questions, but just add them as we go and we'll try to get through to them at the end. Okay, so my name is Vanessa Gale. I like to be known as Ness, and I'm an events coordinator for the Federation of Small Businesses. And I'm joined today by 4 experts who are going to tell you lots and lots about FSB. So we have with us today Rajan Naran, who is an FSB Regional Sales Manager. Katie Fremantle, who's Managing Director of FSB Insurance Services. Ash Bakawala, Senior Tax Consultant at Markel Tax. Jenna Collins, and she's Customer Success Lead at Sante Group. And we're being supported today by Beth Dowell, who is also an Events Coordinator working for the Federation of Small Businesses. We are recording today's session, so don't worry too much about taking notes, because I will send you the link to the recording at the end and you can just play it back at your own time and your own speed. Okay, so first of all, without any more ado, let me turn to Rajan, and he's going to tell you a bit about an overview of the benefits that we've got at the moment.
Thanks very much, Ness, and hello everyone. Hopefully you're enjoying the hot weather we have at the moment. But I just thought I'd give you a very quick whistle-stop tour of the FSB, who we are, and I think the main key areas, or the 4 main points, I call it the 4 pillars of the FSB. So the first one there is that we give you legal support. So these are member-only deals. It gives you a 24/7 helpline. Up to £100,000 of legal cover, so it includes stuff like jewellery service, which is up to £2,500 a day to a maximum. A comprehensive library of documentation that's online, so you're talking company documents such as company policy, employment contracts, partnership agreements, health and safety, food safety. So basically essential documentation that you'd need. You've got a debt recovery service there as well. And as I say, that 24/7 helpline is a customer service and it's award winning. So the legal side is probably one of the biggest reasons why people join. The second one, you're going to hear a lot more about from a couple of our partners this afternoon, from some of the main sort of, if you like, benefits people are tapping into, because these are at preferential rates. And what we try and do is reduce the cost of doing business. So if we can lower that, that means there's more commission and profit in for you as a business owner. And it means that we get you a little bit more resilient to the marketplaces out there as well. The third pillar that we have is networking. We do up to 1,000 events across the country every single year. As a member, you're able to attend these, whether they're virtual or in person. And it's actually your time to be able to be with like-minded people, really looking to grow business and trying to find that next customer as well. Very lastly, the one that we do work with, and it's actually what we're renowned for, is policy. So we've been lobbying government for the last 52 years. From everything you can think of, national insurance contributions, which is where we started, all the way down to the employment law changes that we had come in April. We had an instrumental part in actually protecting the business owners out there, and we do that on a local and a national level. So I hope that's given you a bit of an insight into who we are or what we do, or more importantly, what we can actually do for you as a business owner. Um, but with that, what I would do is I'm going to pass it over to our colleague here, Ashraf, who will actually be able to give you a little bit more information about the Tax Investigation Protection Service.
Thanks ever so much, Rajan. Just before we hear from Ash, we're just going to play a very quick video, um, which should give you just a little bit of an idea of some other bits as well.
Welcome to the FSB Legal and Business Hub, your one-stop platform for staying legally protected and confidently running your business. Let's take a quick tour of how to get the most out of the hub. When you log in, you'll land on the home page. Here you can find customizable templates, guidance and training and legal knowledge resources to help you stay up to date with UK laws and regulations. Need help understanding UK laws and regulations? Head over to the guidance section. Here you can browse a wide range of topics from employment law and data protection to commercial or residential landlord and tenant advice, all written in plain English and tailored for UK businesses. When you're ready to take action, use our legal document templates. These are fully customizable to suit your business. Whether it's a contract, policy, letter or form, just select the document you need, answer a few guided questions and fill in some highlighted fields, and your custom document is ready to download or share. Are you interested in building your skills, reviewing updated resources, or keeping your business compliant with UK laws and regulations? Look through our learning resources to help you build confidence running your business. We are constantly updating this section with new resources and guides to ensure that you understand the full extent of what is needed to understand more complex legal and business topics. And if you need expert help, we've got you covered. Use our legal advice lines for quick guidance from qualified professionals. Or if you have a more complex issue, our consultancy services are here to support you with tailored solutions. As you explore, you can favourite resources that you want to revisit later. Everything you save appears in My Hub, so your most used tools and resources are always just a click away. The FSB Legal and Business Hub is designed to give you confidence, clarity and control over your business's legal responsibilities. Log in today and take the guesswork out of compliance.
Lovely, thank you very much, Beth, for sharing that video. I hope that's given you just a little taster, but you're going to find out a lot more about all of those benefits today anyway. So I'd like to now pass over to Ash Bakawala, and he's going to tell you all about the tax investigation protection, one of the key benefits that we offer you. Over to you, Ash.
Thank you, Ness. So let me just share my screen. There we go. Thank you. So yes, my name's Ash. I'm one of the senior tax consultants at Markel Tax. I've been at Markel for 17 years, and I've been involved with the tax investigation protection for 17 years. So today I'll be just going over the benefit for FSB members. I've only got several minutes, so I'm going to get right into it. So firstly, what is a tax investigation? Essentially, it's always good to understand how HMRC collect tax. So there's two main ways. The first one being pay as you earn. So that is where an employer collects the tax and NIC from an employee when they're paid, and then the employer pays over the tax and NIC over to HMRC. So in a pay as you earn case, everything is done for the taxpayer, and they don't need to worry about it. The second way is what we call self-assessment. So this is tax on income which cannot be collected via PAYE. So examples of this are self-employed businesses, limited companies, partnerships, trusts, people with rental income, foreign income, capital gains, VAT. There's probably a lot more, but those are sort of the main ones. Under self-assessment, what happens is that the taxpayer or the business discloses their income and calculates their own tax liability by submitting a form each year, annually. And HMRC essentially work on what we call a process now, check later basis. So they'll just process whatever you've put on the form, And then HMRC can open a tax investigation after the return has been submitted into the figures that you've declared. Generally, for tax, that is a 12-month period after submission. For VAT and PAYE, that's a period of up to 4 years. However, in certain circumstances, HMRC can extend those periods. And that's all dependent on the behaviours that if they find an error and things like that. FSB members are able to make a claim under the FSB's policy for free representation if they are subject to if they're subject to a tax investigation. So what is covered under the FSB's tax investigation protection? So HMRC can conduct several different types of inquiries. The policy covers the most common ones that we see. So the first one being a full inquiry into the member's business trading activities. So that's where HMRC want to look at everything that's been declared on the return. So it could be everything, including the turnover, all of the expenses, and they're asking for the full books and records. And then we've got what we call an aspect inquiry. That's where HMRC are only looking at certain aspects of the figures that have been declared on the return. So it could be one particular expense or just the turnover or 2 or 3 things on the return. Then we've got what we call an employer compliance dispute. So that's where a business operates PAYE or CIS. HMRC can undertake a review of the employer compliance obligations and review whether everything is being done correctly. Similarly, VAT, HMRC can review VAT returns for up to 4 years. And if they identify an issue where they believe VAT hasn't been paid correctly, they can raise a dispute with the VAT. And then we've got what we call Schedule 36. So this is HMRC's all-encompassing information and inspection powers. So what happens with, for example, a VAT or PAYE matter, HMRC will at the outset request information under what we call Schedule 36. And then that might then lead to a dispute later on. The policy pays up to £100,000 worth of professional fees in respect of any one claim. And the policy that the FSB has is what we call a representational policy, which means that if a claim can be accepted under the policy, an appointed representative is appointed by Markel Tax. So essentially, what it means is that the member can't instruct their own accountant to handle the inquiry for them. Markel Tax is appointed, and we have a team of ex-HMRC inspectors that work for us. And all they do is deal with HMRC inquiries and disputes. What is not covered by the policy? So this slide essentially just gives you a flavour of the main exclusions on the policy. So firstly, if there's an inquiry solely into rental income from land and property, that's something that's not covered by the policy. So what we mean by that is where on the self-assessment tax return, a land and property page is completed and HMRC only inquire into the land and property income, that wouldn't be covered. And that's because it's not deemed to be connected to the business. Secondly, there is not a reasonable prospect of reducing the alleged liabilities. So what that means, and most policies like this operate in the same way, is that if there is a dispute of some sort with HMRC, there must be a reasonable chance of challenging the revenue or reducing the liabilities. So what we mean by a reasonable prospect, there must be more than a 51% chance of successfully defending the position. Tax returns more than 90 days late or where you've not notified chargeability to tax. So if a particular tax return has been submitted to HMRC more than 90 days late and an inquiry is then opened into that particular return, that wouldn't be covered by the policy. And the reason for that is late returns tend to heighten the risk of an inquiry. So there's more risk attached to it. If there's an allegation of fraud or an investigation by HMRC's Fraud Investigation Service or counter avoidance, those types of matters are not covered by the policy. Anything to do with national minimum wage isn't covered. And again, tax avoidance, as I mentioned. It's important to note that the policy only covers inquiries that are somehow connected to the members' business trading activities. So that means if there's an inquiry into something that is personal to the member in isolation, so for example, rental income or I don't know, a capital gains matter where someone has sold a property or something, that wouldn't be covered. However, if the personal matter is queried within a larger inquiry that is connected to the business, then that would be covered by the policy. So we've got here some FAQs. These are essentially the top three sort of questions we get asked on the phone by members. So the first one there is, am I covered for all of my business interests? So the membership is taken out by the individual, and the policy then covers matters in respect of any business activity of which the member owns, i.e. they're a director or partner of. So if any of those companies or businesses gets an inquiry, a claim can be made under the FSB's policy. The next one is, can I ask my accountant to do the work and recover their fees under the policy? So the answer to that is no. If a claim is accepted, the appointed representative is a specialist from Markel Tax. Markel Tax will, however, liaise with the members' accountant as and when needed. So, for example, if some information or documents are needed during the course of an inquiry, Markel Tax will liaise with the accountant. They'll agree their costs with them, and once they are agreed, the accountant can do the work and then send the invoice, and that will be paid under the claim. And then finally, how do HMRC select inquiries? So 25 years ago, when I worked at HMRC, a lot of the time the inquiries were very much random. However, over the last 20, 25 years, HMRC have taken a more risk-based approach, and that's due to what we call their Connect system. So the Connect system at HMRC essentially draws in information from different government departments, third parties, banks, land registry, all that kind of stuff. And then what the Connect system does is when a tax return is submitted by a taxpayer, it essentially cross-references what's on the return, compares it with what they've already got on the system, and if there's some sort of mismatch, that tends to then be a reason for an inquiry. HMRC also look at things like unusual ratios or trends, specific sectors where there might be heightened compliance risk. So not so much random anymore, although there are a few. Just a few case studies, just to give you a flavour of the types of things that we see and why it's so beneficial for members, to have the protection. So I've got here self-employed designer. HMRC opened an inquiry looking at the turnover and expenses and also some rental income. A claim was made by the member. We reviewed all of the areas under inquiry, identified some expenses that weren't allowable, and we assisted the member in putting together some basic rental accounts for the period. After a couple of responses, HMRC accepted the revised position. There was a small additional tax liability, but no penalties were charged. The inquiry lasted about 5 months, and the costs were around £2,000. The second one there, it was a mortgage and financial advice company. HMRC opened an inquiry, and it was an aspect inquiry specifically looking at expenses claimed for use of home as an office. We had some initial discussions with the accountant about what went on the return and the reasons why. The accountant provided some answers and essentially provided some agreements between the directors and the company. That was all sent off to HMRC. And that matter was swiftly closed, I think, within 1 or 2 responses, and the costs were around £1,200. The final one there is we had a self-employed CAF owner. HMRC opened an inquiry a few years ago. The member tried to handle the matter themselves with the help of their accountant. However, they were not getting very far. So a claim was notified about a year into the inquiry, where we became involved. We reviewed all of the outstanding matters, liaised with HMRC on how we could, get the case closed as quickly as possible. With the provision of information, we managed to close the inquiry. I think that one was open for about 2.5 years in total. It was closed through a negotiated settlement, and the costs were in the region of about £10,000. So it was quite a large inquiry. So who we are? So essentially, me and the rest of my team, we're all ex-HMRC officers. We're experienced in dealing with HMRC inquiries on a day-to-day basis. We also do additional things like ADR. So during the course of an inquiry, if you get to a dispute stage, you could go through this process of ADR to try and resolve matters. We provide second opinions. We do disclosure work. So yeah, we don't just deal with HMRC inquiries and disputes. We do some other bits and bobs as well. And then finally, if anyone has got any questions, you can contact for tax, you can contact the tax claims team, taxclaimsuk@markel.com. Obviously, the FSB provides some legal expenses insurance as well. And if you do have any queries about any legal expenses matters, then you can contact the legal expenses claims team there. Back to you, Ness.
Great, thank you very much, Ash. That's very comprehensive, and people will have a copy of the slides which they can see and go through. Really impressed that you're all ex-HMRC people, because obviously you know the ropes and you know the way that HMRC work, because this is quite a scary time for people, isn't it, when they suddenly get
Absolutely.
collared, if you like.
Absolutely. The number of times that I've spoken to members over the phone, so they've just received a letter in a brown envelope in the post, and they've called up, absolutely they're distressed at the time. Oh, what's going on? What's going to happen? Am I going to get a penalty? Am I going to jail? You get all kinds of
Sure.
things. People are very distressed, and as I say, we've been doing this for a number of years, and we tend to allay any fears that members might have. And a couple of cases that I've dealt with recently, they've been so thankful that we've managed to close matters off pretty quickly, to be honest. And businesses just want to move on. They don't need this hanging over their heads.
Yeah, no, it's just great. You can take all that stress and worry off of people.
Absolutely.
And just deal with it. And what's really fabulous is this is actually included in FSB membership. Every member who joins has got this cover. So that is really worth knowing. Well, thank you ever so much for that. And great, we're going to turn now to another of our FSB membership benefits that are included automatically in your membership as long as you register for, and that's our FSB insurance service. I'm going to ask Katie Fremantle, who's the Managing Director of FSB Insurance Service, and she's going to tell you all about this really important benefit. Thank you, Katie.
Thank you, Ness, and hi everyone. Thank you for having me. Beth is going to kindly share some slides for me on my behalf. So the benefit itself is access to FSB Insurance Service, which is a commercial brokerage. So we were created specifically by FSB in 2018, using the expertise of some existing FSB members to fill a gap in the market. Most small businesses are currently been and have been for a long time being sent to large contact centres or buying online without advice. We are heavily going down the advisory route and trying to make sure that all members are aware that they should be seeking advice on the insurances that they should have and the recommendations, and that is why we're here. So FSB thought it was time to create an FCA regulated commercial insurance advisory firm designed to provide a more tailored service to its many diverse and often complex members. They started off with a 30% stake, increasing that to 49% in 2023, having declared the project a success, which we were chuffed with. And over the years, we've grown in the insurance world and are multiple award winners, having achieved recognition in categories from Startup of the Year, Best Affinity Broker, Customer Champion, through to Diversity and Inclusion, which are all categories which are very strong to our heart. Thank you, Beth. So just to give you a bit more detail into why we were created, we've got our motto there: good advice, quality products, value for money. Insurance is not a simple product to buy, and many small firms are just as complex in their range of expertise as many larger businesses. FSBIS has a very simple mantra for members looking for commercial insurance: to give advice so that members are properly covered, selling products which will deliver when called upon at a price which represents good value. It's vitally important to be properly insured, having taken advice, and I sit on the British Insurance Brokers Association SME Advisory Board. I'm not sure why they couldn't make it smaller. And our CEO is on the Financial Conduct Authority's Smaller Business Practitioners Panel. And we want to make sure that we're current in the important insurance matters and relay that information to our members. So the access to us is for advice, for actual purchased items. They are the actual insurance policies themselves. However, we appreciate that insurance isn't the most riveting of topics to be prioritising when you've got lots of other business activities that are going to be monopolising your requirements. So if we go on to the next slide, please, Beth. So that's why we created something called a registration. So if you are a member already, then you need to make sure that you are registered with the FSB Insurance Service. And the easiest way to do that is by going onto our website, FSB Insurance Service, and registering. And to make that more appealing for you, we've got the registration benefits here on the right-hand side. The reason why we had to set that up is because when we first started trading, although we were partially owned by FSB, GDPR came in at the same time. So we wanted to be cautious and that we weren't signing up people without their explicit consent. So on the left-hand side here, it explains that if you're an FSB member, you then need to register with us to then be able to access the benefits and us as a brokerage, of which when you then purchase a policy from us, you become a customer. FSB Insurance Service is a right of membership. It's exclusive to all FSB members and all members can register to use it. So if you aren't a member, this is what you would have access to if you were to join and then you were to register with us. So on the right-hand side here, you'll see that there's several added value facilities, everything from a free business continuity planning toolkit. This is vital and actually really helps insurers when they put a rating towards your business insurance, because if they know that you've got a disaster recovery plan, effectively, they know that you've got your risk management sorted. And it's really in the event of a disaster, what do you do first? And we had that prime example when we first started trading, our office block flooded. Having that plan was really useful for us, being able to guide us through the items of what we need to address first. This was prior to working from home. We didn't have laptops or anything. So just being able to get back up and running as soon as possible. So this is a fantastic tool and is available free when you register. And what happens is that when you register, we'll send you an email link which have access to all of these items. So if you then save that email, you'll then be able to grab those as and when you need them. We have then got 10 free credit checks. This is an annual service. A lot of members actually do use that to check themselves, which isn't a bad thing. But also, if you're looking to provide credit to new customers, then it's a fantastic tool to be able to get a credit check there for your potential exposures there. We have then got a variety of commercial property valuation tools. The freebie is a red, amber or green indicator based on your current sum insured, which is fantastic. The outcome, unfortunately, for most members who have gone through this have found out that their property is currently underinsured. Throughout the last sort of 5 to 10 years, especially obviously with the world pandemic situations, war, Brexit, we have found that inflation has impacted material significantly. Workforces are no longer readily available. So having a property valuation is recommended to be done every 3 years. We then do have discounted preferential rates for an online desktop valuations, which are relatively new in the industry, but they are RICS approved and accepted by insurers to make sure your property is accurately valued. And in the event of a loss, you'll get that total rebuild, sum insured that it's required. And then just another little tidbit, we need to be making sure that you're using the rebuild cost, which is different to how much you purchased the property for. Rebuild cost, you need to take into consideration the demolition of any remaining structure, debris removal, architectural fees, surveying fees, any submissions that you need to make to the local council, things like that. So you need to be making sure that you are adequately insured. That goes towards your stock, your contents, your material perils as well. Thank you, Beth. So this is just to highlight how we did in 2025. It seems like a long time ago now. The year is flying by. Because you are so diverse, referring to the members, we need to make sure that we have got suitable products and insurers who will be able to facilitate your requirements and needs. So we are selling over 70 different products with 100 different specialists, everything from financial lines to commercial property to travel, fleet insurance, anything that you can think of. We will either try to provide the solution ourselves or we'll be working with partners who are able to facilitate if they are a little bit more specialist or if they've got their own more competitive schemes than we're able to facilitate ourselves. Over the first few years of its existence, FSB Insurance Service has been adopted by many members, but it's been supported by thousands in the numbers. more members buying insurance through us every year, which is amazing conversion and renewing at a great rate as well. We've then got our world-class NPS score, Net Promoter Score, which we're incredibly proud of which we've taken over 16,000 calls last year. We've also got an enviable audit pass rate as well. We want to make sure that we're providing compliance as our top priority. And we've got 40,000 of you registered already with the service. So if you aren't registered with us and a member, please make sure you do go online and get registered, and you'll have access to all of the benefits that I mentioned in the previous slide. Thank you very much, Beth. Very quickly, just to really drill down the point that we want to make of advisory over non-advisory. Advisory is being able to provide advice. We are a brokerage. We are the middle person between you and your business insurance. So our role is to provide recommendations and advice. You can come to us for advice whether insured with us or not initially. So if you're having a tricky claim or you've got a circumstance which is you're really concerned about, but you don't have insurance with us, then please do make sure you're utilising us and speaking to one of our experts. The non-advisory route is if you've gone online potentially and used a quote and buy system and you haven't sought advice, or you're speaking to a provider who is unable to provide you with that education on insurance itself. We've got a very small quote and buy offering ourselves, and we wanted to make that available for those who are fully equipped to be able to do that, and sort of more on the vanilla side of things. However, we've had various scenarios where we've had to recover a policy from when they've come to us with incorrect cover. So we've had a pub and restaurant who put themselves down as a caterer on a simple liabilities policy because they didn't have the option there for pub and restaurants. That was about £150, and we had to get that cancelled, or we requested to them to get that cancelled straight away, and we replaced that policy with a more comprehensive, suitable policy to cover their wine, spirits, contents. They actually lived on the premises as well, so their personal possessions. We had a marketing firm who purchased an office policy and actually put themselves down as an accountant. They also include buildings insurance, but having looked at the property, we were fully aware that they would be a tenant or one of many tenants and potentially the freehold of the overall property. And it actually turned out that they were just the tenant. They weren't responsible for the freehold. They also didn't include any of their computer or photography equipment, of which we would discuss that with them. Unfortunately, because they were going at it alone, then they didn't really think that they needed to include that as a specific item. We've also then need to take into consideration business does change throughout the year. You need to keep us in mind as well if your business circumstances were to change. If you were to start exporting, importing from other countries, manufacturing products, altering products, these are things you need to be making sure that you're informing your insurers of. For the larger customers especially, we are aware that discussing over the phone can be quite complex and difficult to get the full picture. So we actually have executives across the whole of the UK who will come out and do face-to-face visits as well, and we'll do basically the zero-based review that I mentioned on was on the list of the registered benefits. They'll come out, talk you through your property, the risks and exposures that you might face, and basically go through with you what the potential exposures are that they would recommend. Thank you, Beth. And also, this is really just to highlight that we want to support good as well. We like to try to support our small local charities. We are based across the UK. Croydon, being in South London, is our one prominent office. But to facilitate the members of who are dotted around, we do have staff who are dotted around the UK as well. So every year we pick a different small charity to support who is local to either to us in Croydon or to one of our staff. We've done incredible amounts of work. We're sort of going up to the point of fundraising of £100,000 over the years. Charities from helping seriously ill children and their families, cancer support groups, those with learning disabilities, dementia carers, and this year helping the young homeless of South London. Last year's association with dementia carers, we actually generated over £20,000, which we're incredibly proud of. And we won the Community Impact Award from our network from having done those fundraising activities. So just wanted to share that we are trying to support local charities as well. We are here for small businesses. As I said, if you've got any questions and you are a member or any queries, then please do let us know whether you're insured with us or not. When your renewal comes up, then please do keep us in mind for a quotation. If you're not registered, go online to register. And we are also on LinkedIn, and we do try to provide as many updated blogs and news articles on relatable and current insurance matters as well, which you'll probably find really interesting. So please go on and find us on LinkedIn as well, and give us a follow. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Katie. That was brilliant. Really like the idea of some of those free extra benefits just for registering as well. Why wouldn't you register? It's entirely free. It's all part of your membership, and you get all these great tools. Business continuity tool, that sounded really good. The 10 free credit checks, great. I mean, really good. Well done
We're
on
basically paying people to sign up for registration with us. Why wouldn't you, as you say? And then
yeah.
you can see how amazing we are, and then you want to insure with us as well.
Well, exactly that. Yeah, yeah. Oh, well done on all your good work for charity as well. That's brilliant. It's lovely to be able to see that you're giving something back to the community as well. But so
Thanks,
I
Ned.
just urge everyone to register and find out what's available. So
Amazing.
they
Thank you.
literally have to go online and they can register, and that's it. Is it
Simple
simple?
as that.
Great. Okay. Thank you very much, Katie.
Thanks, Ned.
We've got a few questions come into the Q&A box already. Don't forget, if you want your questions answered, just please pop it into the Q&A box and we'll look at that shortly. Okay, I'm going to turn again now to Rajan, who's going to tell you about some of our value-added services.
Thanks again, Ness, and hi everyone. And you can see already what you get as a basic benefit. So, the advice lines that are there are really there to help and guide you. Make sure that you stay legal and compliant, really. I just wanted to mention a couple of other services, benefits, if you like, that people probably haven't tapped into or didn't even know that we did. So we've also got an online training platform. Now, this is over 750 CPD certified training courses. And the knack about this, because it looks at all the compliance and all the needs that you need as a business, these courses, for all of those courses, are £80 plus VAT per person. And when you have a business which actually has a larger, man force, so a workforce, should I say, and you have multiple principals needed in there, if you have over 6 users, that cost actually comes down. But that means that you're tapping into CPD qualified courses, making sure your team members are compliant, and upskilling those that you can see the future with. One that we're not going to mention because we've got her coming up is the healthcare app, which I think is absolutely amazing. Used it, lived by it, and my wife is very, very happy. And I'm sure you'll understand why when you hear the information and the availability. Another common one is pensions and payroll. So a payroll service whereby as a business owner, you're going to have to do at least probably 2 days worth of work a month just to get the pensions and payroll accurate with your accountant and working on that. Well, for £5 a pay slip, we can take that all away for you, which means for £10 of investment on a month for maybe 2 staff members, you're getting those 2 days back. Just imagine how much more work you can actually take on in those 2 days. And I think it's far outweighed for the £10 that it's going to cost you to get it done for you. One last one that I just wanted to mention as well is the different variations that we've got of business banking. When I joined 8 years ago, we had the co-op, which we still partner with, which is a fantastic, what I'd like to call your bricks and mortar bank account. But we also work with other bank accounts. We've got the Alica Bank that's out there, which actually takes care of you where you're a larger business and you'd like to do that one-to-one with an account manager, not a call center, not a a robot, but a human being. So you're able to do that. You have that one, and you also have Zempla. Zempla is able to get you up and running very, very quickly, and it also gives you the option of being able to get a 1.5% cash back on eligible cash spends. And that really helps you with your stockists now, because what you're doing is you're getting services back on them. So there's a number of different T's and C's involved with them, but I encourage every member to go and have a look at the options, have a think about what you're spending at the moment. And if it's something that you're actually got an investment in, look at the alternatives. That's how you're going to bring your lower, the cost of doing business lower. Very lastly, I'd like to mention for anyone that's not a member, If they were to get in contact with me, and that is rajan.naran@fsb.org.uk, I've actually got a discount code that you can use. And what I'll be able to do is actually connect you with the local membership advisor to you. So they can talk through your individual needs, and they can actually help you with the joining process if needed as well. But I hope that was useful. I know we've got Jenna coming up, and as I said to you, well worth it. It's the best investment that we've made as a family for sure, and I'm sure you will too. Thanks ever so much, Ness.
Thank you, Rajan. That's brilliant. Yeah, we've got some great additional things. How many courses did you say are available?
It's well, we say now it's over 750
Oh,
because
wow.
the beauty you have with our provider is if they don't actually have that course through us, we can actually request to see if they can
Oh,
go find it. And so it's over 100, over 750. When they started about 12 months ago, I think it was about 100 less. So they're
right.
growing in them, but they're growing
Okay.
around the members that are out there.
Lovely. So something for everyone and a real opportunity for people to upskill their staff at a very, very good
Absolutely. So
start.
it's the retention model for you. If you want to keep those quality
Yeah,
staff, upskill them, give them
yeah,
more. If it's a case that it's compliancy, forklift driving and food safety and stuff like that, then it's an option of actually saving money against some of the providers out there. And
yeah,
then again, goes back to that preferential rate. We're just trying to lower the cost of doing business. So
yes.
that's why we have that outreach.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. I urge everyone to sort of look into that and see what courses are available. Okay, well, as Rajan said, we're now going to turn to the health plan, healthcare, FSB healthcare, and we've got Jenna Collins, who's customer services lead from the Sante Group, and she's going to tell you all about this fantastic benefit.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I say just from that wonderful introduction, my name is Jenna. I'm from Sante Group. I'm the customer success lead there, and I'm just going to talk you through some of the features and benefits of the FSB Healthcare app. I do work for an organisation called Sante Group. We have partnered with FSB to provide all members for an additional cost. So it is a supplementary service, essentially access to care and health provision for yourself and your workforce if you opt to share that out, and if you have a workforce or volunteers within the organisation. Just to let you know that this service is as an additional charge. It's £39 plus VAT for 12 months. It is a membership subscription which you can use as often as you need throughout that 12 months license, and if you wish you can renew for subsequent years thereafter. So without further ado, I will go through the app and just give you some information based on this service. So just as a summary page here, the app is essentially made up of components which we label as health, life and care. I will go through each one of these in more detail shortly, but just to give you an idea of what the app looks like, here they are on screen there. So various different screens available within health, care and lifestyle. And each one of those tiles you simply tap and the service will then generate in the background, and you can happily go ahead and use each of those as and when you need. So to jump straight in the health section, the first page you're going to get to see is the GP service. This is the first offering that we have. This is a 24/7 unlimited access to essentially GPs via telephone or video call. So if you're used to things like this, Zooms, etc., you will be able to book an appointment online with a GP. These are all GMC registered doctors, and they have essentially available calendar diary dates where you can either click and book an appointment or call to schedule something a bit further in advance. So if you have a busy afternoon and you know you've got a few hours later, you can certainly look within the calendar of availability to see if there is a time and date that suits yourself. You're able to give them a call, as I've said, 24/7 all year round for various different reasons. Obviously, for this service, it is a virtual tool. So when you do book an appointment, you'll only be able to go through so many certain aspects of that sort of consultation. They can't physically touch you, but what they will be able to do, if clinically appropriate, they'll be able to give you a prescription for the ailment or issue that you're going through, certainly enough to tide you over to get you then an appointment and onward referral within the NHS to see your own GP for further and more lengthier support. You will be able to speak to either a male or a female doctor if you have, a certain issue, you want to speak to a specialist, whether it's sports medicine, talk about diabetes, women's health. Obviously, the prescriptions can be same day. And there is an option for those that live in Birmingham, Manchester, or London for you to get a same day delivery. You simply just have to pay for the delivery charge. But certainly with this, it's providing you access to care there and then to essentially a doctor's appointment when you need it, rather than playing sort of 8 a.m. phone tennis. These are fantastic, obviously, anytime available appointments. So if it's late at night or, in the summer holidays, winter holidays that come around, there is availability there for yourself. I must say, for those who have the app as a primary user, so an FSB member, you've purchased it for yourself, those within your household, so a dependent that lives with you, will also be given access to a GP appointment if necessary as well, because we do know things can escalate and impact the working day for you if you have a dependent who is ill. So they are able to use this service as well. You simply just add their credentials into the app and it will make sure it's registered to them as well. Moving on, within the health section again, we have My Personal Support. This is a service provided by the same system, so Health Hero. They have a 24/7 all year round mental health and wellbeing service, which is integrated into the app for you. If you're calling anytime, day or night, and it is clinically appropriate, that they support and push you further into structured therapy sessions. So at your discretion, if you think it's appropriate, also, you can agree to 6 in-person or 6 virtual structured therapy sessions. This can include a multitude of different sort of avenues. So wherever it is you're struggling with, they will support. What they won't do is signpost you out to some other service. They will keep you on the call, triage you there and then connect you with an available and appropriate counsellor. Thereafter, again, if you do need sort of one-to-one guidance and support, you will be able to get access to 6 in-person sessions. This is included in that £39 plus VAT subscription fee, which I mentioned at the start. Lots of people do think that's an extra charge, but it isn't. So for those who are suffering and need constant support, you have that line there to fall back on. And of course, those who have a workforce, they equally have a mechanism in place. It's known as an EAP system for those who are familiar. But the EAP system we've built in here is labelled as My Personal Support. I just want to draw attention to the Wellbeing Hub at the bottom of that screen. The Wellbeing Hub is essentially full of resources, as well as essentially a calendar diary for the counsellors if you do need to schedule a call, because you're not in a private space to make a telephonic call there and then. But inside that, there are lots of PDF resources, webinars, articles to help support those who just feel like self-referral CBT is good, whether they need some maybe elderly or infant care advice and guidance, and or whether they want to have a little further deeper dive into other resources. But that is full of sort of rich material, and I do encourage people to look through that. The third within the health section is the health check powered by Bluecrest. These are partners that we've plugged in to help support those who are interested in their sort of vital statistics. It is a private health MOT check at a discount. So one of the USPs for the FSB is that essentially they are able to book a range of different sorts of health MOTs, but the base one is a discount for FSB members who've got access to this service. These have a USP as well. Typically when you book for a Bluecrest health check, you will find that it's within a 5 to 8 mile radius of your home address. They partner up with lots of hotel chains, making it accessible for people to get access to these health MOTs. There are additional add-ons as well. So if anyone's particularly interested in maybe hormonal checks or cancer support, screenings, etc., they can be then added on with a further discount applied as well. And currently the entry level MOT is £99. So again, fantastic benefit, but that is the first self-elected cost within the app if anybody chooses to book one. Now, moving on to the care section, we know physiotherapy, certainly MSK support is absolutely vital for anyone at the moment, certainly those who are desk-bound, but certainly for anyone who's struggling and needs physiotherapy support, this is our sort of solution for that. So housing and care section, our partner Theo provides you with, again, an all year round 24/7 support, which is clinically reviewed on a daily basis. So even if you kickstart your sort of journey with Theo, what you have to do is go through a 10 to 15-minute Q&A initially to talk about your ailments, the problem that you have, the range of movement, the pain, etc. When you do that, it will give you a clinically reviewed and backed series of exercises to continue to kind of alleviate that initial problem that you have there. And then it will give you also then a review from a clinician who will reach out and book a face-to-face session with you. A USP from these guys, again, is that FSB healthcare members, should I say, will have access to up to 3 face-to-face physiotherapy sessions included within this service. Of course, moving further on in the year, if you have an issue elsewhere on the body, so it's not an arm, it's now a leg problem, for instance, you are able to recalibrate the app and it will give you digital support for the remaining part of the license that you've purchased if you've used the 3 face-to-face previously. But again, a fantastic tool for you to gain onward support. There is a chat service in there, so you can speak to a physiotherapist via a chatbot should you want to, if you don't feel like a face-to-face session is really relevant for you. But lots and lots of support within that product for you guys. The second of the sort of the care side of things isn't really designed so much for a user. However, if you are interested in games and quizzes, definitely dive into this section. But Memory Lane Games is our dementia tool. So there is a free token once you have FSB Healthcare. There is a free token you can share and pass out to anyone within your network who is struggling cognitively. Lots and lots of tests have been done with regards to this in a care situation. Those who have sadly been on the cognitive decline through things such as dementia or Alzheimer's, this is a way to trigger short-term and long-term memory, to evoke some moments of lucidity. And it's a fantastic tool, like I say, simply if you're interested in games or quizzes. But that is in there as a free token. We then have the final of the 3, which is the cancer support. Our partner Percy at the moment is giving it access to specialist nurse and oncology support lines if anyone is interested or certainly concerned about cancers. It's a fully customizable part of the app where you can say a multitude of things, but certainly if we consider the want to avoid and want to live a healthy lifestyle, living with, sadly, a diagnosis, and then post into recovery, there will be further support and guidance within this. There is, again, soundscapes, podcasts, webinars, and a multitude of other resources that people can lean into for this service. And there is a free 40-minute conversation with an oncology specialist should you want to troubleshoot something with them. And finally, I know we're tight on time, but I will just quickly run through the lifestyle section within the app. And this is the one I think Roshan was referring to before. It's the heaviest used section within the app. This is going to give you access to discounts and savings, not only on the high street, but also online. There is a seasonal fluctuation to some of these discounts as well. It's all retailer led, but ultimately within sort of warmer summer months and then obviously the winter, we find there are spikes in different sort of discounts ranging from 740 at any given time up to about 1,200 different retail discounts. And it can be cashback, loyalty cards, rewards, QR codes that you've got access to, leisure, hotel chains, excursions away, theme parks, as well as jewelers, and then you have supermarkets, etc. So we do have some examples, and these are examples. We can't advertise these because again, it's retailer led, but they do change all of the time. But just to give you an idea of some of the brands with a discount associated, then you've got access to inside the app. So again, just a great overview of some of the services that you can kind of engage with, less the normal cost that you will be charged if you don't have access to the app. And finally, in terms of, again, the whole holistic health and wellbeing solution, we want to provide a gym discount as well. So within the platform, it is another leisure brand discount service, but also a discount for local leisure centre, swimming pools, local authority gyms, as well as branded gyms such as Pure Gym, Fitness First, and David Lloyd. So lots of different opportunities for people to engage either at home leisure or in a physical gym. And finally, the last part is a digital workout buddy where you can track sleep, soundscapes, you get a variety of different recipes that you can use. There's community support, and there's guided meditations as well inside this app. So thank you for listening. And yeah, I'm conscious of time, so there'll be lots of questions I can hopefully answer later.
Oh, thank you so much, Jenna. I can't believe there is so much available for £39 a year.
Yeah.
It's just,
And
that is so good. And I hope everybody looks at that and thinks to themselves, wow, that's something I definitely must have. If it's just for them and their family, or for their staff as well, which would be a wonderful thing to give to staff. Great. Thank you ever so much. I really learnt a lot from that as well. Super. Okay, well, we are quite short of time, so we're going to go straight into some questions now, if that's okay with everybody. We've got a few questions already. The first one we've got is, do you have, can you confirm the cost of the legal cover?
Legal cover is included in your membership. So it's you've got legal support and then you have legal advice. So you have legal advice regardless. So pick up the phone, speak to a solicitor, barrister, or lawyer. And the legal support, just as long as it's not a pre-existing issue, then we're able to do that. And as mentioned earlier, that magic number is 51%. Just as long as we feel there's a 51% chance of winning, then we'll give you that legal support right the way through as well. So that £100,000 cover comes included in your membership.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Katie, do you have links for reputable insurance cover?
We do, absolutely. So we only use A-rated insurers for the policies that we provide. If it is incredibly unique or high risk, we do have access to London market capacity as well. But various checks and information is provided for that as well. So all of the big A's that you can think of, AXA, Aviva, Allianz, who you can name, will be able to get access, will be able to redirect if there's a better scheme out there.
Thank you. A couple of people have asked and sort of commented that the rates quoted by FSB Insurance Service was higher than they got quotes from CIA Insurance or other providers. Is there a price match or a similar service available?
It's not necessarily price match. We're going through something called a soft market at the moment. So it's definitely keeping insurers and brokers on their toes. I don't like saying that we'll guarantee to beat price because we do tend to be comparing different covers. As I said, if someone's, for example, taken an online non-advisory product and then we're speaking to them and we're discussing different areas of cover or potentially increasing limits, sometimes you need to take into consideration as well, if you're going directly to an insurer, then it does tend to be the more competitive route, but then you don't have the support of a broker to assist with the management of the insurance policy. So it's a few different reasons that could be the case, but we do try to be as competitive as possible and we can have those conversations with insurers.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you very much. One for you, Ash. Does the tax investigation protection cover national insurance contributions?
So if national insurance comes up as a query from HMRC during the course of a tax inquiry that's relating to the business, or what I would say would come up in more commonly would be a PAYE review, then yeah, if HMRC raise a query about national insurance during the course of a employer compliance review, then yes, it would be covered. However, if the question is, does it cover the actual national insurance that might become payable by somebody or someone, then the answer is no. So the policy doesn't cover the actual tax or NIC liability. You get representation for assisting if it's queried by HMRC.
Great, thank you. I see somebody's actually asking, is the cost of the healthcare £39 a month or £39 a year? And I absolutely was also wondering that because it's so much offered, but it's for the year, isn't it?
That's
For the
correct.
whole
Yeah.
year.
So
Wow.
it is. Yeah. So £39 plus VAT for
For
the
the year.
year, but that's
Wow.
per person as well. So again, if an organization's got even just 2 members of staff, or there is
Yeah.
2 in the whole organization, you buy a license per person. The credentials per app, the credentials for each individual user will be then housed on that app. So if somebody does need a prescription, for instance, it stays within their sort of ecosystem. So yeah, £39 plus VAT per year.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. I'm trying to whip through some of these really quickly. If we don't get through all of them, I will get them answered for you and send them to you separately. Rajan,
Yeah,
somebody's talking about pensions. Do you offer advice to FSB members? Thinking
indeed.
specifically about people leaving teaching and public sector and entering private sector, that kind of thing.
Absolutely. So yeah, just pick up the call, the 0808 number. It's the customer services. Just tell them who you want to speak to. If you're a member, you can log into your hub and you can request a call back from there. So it makes it even easier. So if you know you want to speak to someone 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, put the request in today and you'll generally get that confirmed in the next hour. So get in contact with us. If it's an additional pension provider you're looking for, we can even help with that as well.
Super, thank you. Another one for you, Rajan. Does business ownership include businesses run as sole trader status, e.g., not limited
Absolutely.
company?
So the beauty of the FSB membership itself is it's actually you as the owner that's protected. So if you have multiple businesses, you're an entrepreneur and you have your, 3 or 4 different businesses running, this one membership covers all of them. It gives you the same services for each and every one, so you can tailor make the service you need for where you are. So yes, totally covered there, whether you're a sole trader, limited company. It's just where we're looking at businesses with more than 249 staff that it becomes a little bit difficult, but it's not the marketplace that we're generally in, if I'm being honest.
No, no, we're the small business people, aren't we? Up to 249 staff, and that's pretty big anyway, isn't it? We've got a
Exactly.
few more questions on here, and I'm really sorry, but we have run out of time. If you've got any particular individual questions, especially on insurance or the healthcare, or anything you've seen today with the tax investigation, please get in touch, and I will make sure that your questions get sent to the right person. Is there anything else we can answer really quickly before we go? Yeah, there's a few insurance ones. Which I think they just need to take up with you separately, really, Katie. Um, can my business partner with you on training business?
Sorry, what was that, Ness?
Can my business partner with you on training businesses?
Yeah. I mean, if you're a business partner, what we would look at is, if there's 2 of you in the business, we'll make sure that they're an associate member anyway, and they can tap into absolutely everything themselves as well. An associate membership means that you actually have 2 partners within a business who maybe have no other relationship. So one is the main member. The associate member means that they can pick up, use their own credentials to access all the benefits and all the support that's needed.
Great, thank you ever so much. Well, I'm really sorry we've run out of time. I will try to get back to any questions individually. Thank you so much for joining us today for this webinar, and we hope to see you again. We've got another Maximise Your Membership webinar in a month and no, 2 months' time, 29th of July, where we will be having a different provider come along and tell you about another one of our benefits in more detail. So it might be worth coming along to that as well. For all of our details on our events, go to our FSB events page, where we have a very easy to search. You can search by all sorts of areas, networking, whatever you're interested in. Come along to all of our events. So thank you very much. I'd like to say thank you to all of our panel, and thank you all for coming along today and giving up your time, and thank you for watching us. We hope to see you soon.